Hello, hello. Welcome to Friday. Not a lot of good stuff happening yesterday. A few things to talk about today. Not a whole lot, to be honest, but a few charts to keep an eye on. So we'll get stuck into those. Obviously, with a Friday, it's good to be in and out of a trade, unless you like to hold it over the weekend. So just bear that in mind. So here we are then. We only got 7 things. Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD. Right, Aussie CAD. We've got on the daily. Obvious downtrend, breaking through the daily 50. And then it hit this level here, which is, I think it's a reasonable level going back, but nothing really special. And it did a little pullback, and then it's starting to continue down again. But we do have to break through this level again, this level, which we actually just support before. We're going to break this level of support, so just bear that in mind. We look at the hourly chart, and it looks pretty good. We did have a good pullback to the 4-hour 50, this blue line, and a really good rejection. Now, we didn't really get a decent ACB because if we look, there's an ACB here. Basically, I'm looking for a wedge pattern as it decelerates towards the 4-hour 50, and not really, mainly because of this probably news spike here. Anyway, so we've got not a great ACB, but a great rejection of 4-hour 50. We're broken through the 1-hour 50 now, so we're looking to continue going short. So remember that line we talked about, the support level, with these lows here. So the pip snatcher is definitely on. The ACBB probably not so much, but doesn't make much difference really. It's going to be pretty similar. Pip snatcher looks pretty good. Zoom in just a little bit. The MACD looks good. Since it's pulled back, we've got a nice continuous momentum. Momentum still continuing. Just a little pullback with the 1-hour 50 catching up. Not much for the 1-hour 50 to catch up. That's good. Aussie CAD anytime in the next few hours could be a good setup. And then we have a nice pip snatcher. That looks good. Everything meets my criteria. As long as we get a test of the 1-hour 50, of course, on the pullback. And maybe you want to take this down to as a hyper trade and push forward to 1, push your 4%. And you may find, you'll probably find some kind of resistance as hit the support level here, which is at about 2%. If you break through that, then it could be pretty much plain sailing south. So it's pretty good, very good for pip snatcher, and consider hyper trade. But remember that support level seems to be it's there, and it's reasonably strong. So let's go to CAD yen next. CAD yen, we've got a meandering uptrend, not particularly strong. A couple of bullish days. We tested the daily 50 here, and we've had bullish action up to this level here, which is actually pretty strong resistance. There's resistance here that got rejected, and it's like it's doing it again. So we've got to be aware of that level. But apart from that, the momentum is continuing to go up. MACD looks good. It's going to MACD, it's rising with the price action, so like that. Let's go with that. So we're looking for it to go long more today. Let's have a look. On the 1-hour. 1-hour we have revisited this 4-hour 50. Broke through it here just briefly and then continued up. Since then, we've had very strong on the MACD. Momentum's looking pretty good. Maybe it's starting to wane a little bit, but it could be okay. So the only consideration now is we've got this 1-hour 50 is quite a long way behind the daily pivot. So by the time that catches up, maybe this MACD will have rolled over and not looking so good. We'll see how it looks in a few hours when the 1-hour 50 catches up to the daily pivot, or the price action comes down to meet it. So we see it looks up on the setup. Maybe that's a good one, maybe not. Just bear that in mind, the points I just mentioned. but it looks okay. Euro Aussie. Right, Euro Aussie rejected this level here again yesterday. Quite a nice looking candle. Nice looking going short candle, and I'm expecting that to continue today if the 1 hour agrees. So we'll be having a kind of 1-2 triple top thing going on here, and the MACD has been kind of dropping off. Not the most obvious, but it's kind of dropping off. Momentum's losing momentum basically. And if we zoom out a little bit, so we can see here there's a nice trend line. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our fifth touch. Has it broken it? Not really. So you can still say that trend line is still valid, which is good because I am looking at. We've got two things going on here. We've got an ABO, where we're looking for this triangle, strength of this resistance level here, and strength of the trend line, which we've definitely got. And we need to break through that going short down to the 4-hour 50. So we can enter this as an ABO. We need another test though. We've got one test here. We've got one test of that resistance level, pull back, second test, meandering, pulling back. I want to see a third test. For me, if you entered now, it'd be pretty aggressive. And of course, ideally, we like to see this pull back. Take out the stops back here. Pull down to do a lower high, a lower low, and then take it short. So that's kind of what the ideal scenario would look like. If we don't get that there, we could be entering here on this pullback before we get to the trend line. But the strongest setup would be a pullback here, take out stops. We've kind of had that here with these wicks. Maybe that's good enough, maybe that's all we get. We enter on the 5-minute 50 break, and we head short down to the 4-hour 50. That's an interesting looking setup. Either that, or we wait for a break of the 1-hour 50, which we've already had, but we want to see it break this trend line as well. We entered before this trend line, just on the 1-hour 50 break alone, it's not good enough because we're then trading into this headwind. So basically, we entered here, we come back here, probably reject this trend line again, come back here, take your stop out, and then you'll be pretty annoyed. But now is the time to be setting up for an entry for the ABO, or perhaps even break of the 1-hour 50 pullback, and then into the IBO here on the second break. So there you go. It's an interesting setup. So we'll go through that in a bit of detail. Euro CAD. We've got a pulling back towards the daily 50. Not the greatest of daily action. We have a level. We have kind of a level here, don't we? Let's pull this up here. We have a level here, rejection, rejection, rejection there. So it's kind of a level. You can even say the level's there. Putting back towards the daily 50. Do we have anything on the 1 hour? Okay, on the 1 hour we have quite a nice looking IBO. So although the DDP is probably not the strongest, the 1 hour actually looks pretty good. There's a very strong rejection of these highs. Putting back strongly through the 1 hour 50 to the 4-hour 50. And if you get a pullback now, you're okay, another 8 hours or so, then putting back to the daily pivot. You can't do a pip snatcher because the 4-hour 50 is going to be there before I'm on 1%, I imagine. Yeah, it looks like it is. So we'll go for IBO C because we've reached the 4-hour 50, and enter on the 3/8C pullback, the 1 hour 50, and we can take it down to the daily 50. Should give us 1.8%, or we might be a bit more conservative because we will find some kind of resistance as we hit S1 on the daily pivot. It's this level here, 1.5%. So that looks okay. Euro dollar, how does that look? Euro dollar in a kind of downtrend. It's not the cleanest, not the best. It's typical euro dollar, really doesn't act that nicely. We've definitely broken the daily 50. We come back and retested it, and now we've had a very bearish rejection of that daily 50. So that looks quite good for a short DDP today. Now here we've got CBO. As it comes back to the 1 hour 50, the 4 hour 50 is just behind it, it's blue line. Daily pivots here as well. The only issue here really is the fibs. So we put the fibs up to the highs, which is the obvious one. They're still okay actually. We have to break through the 1 hour 50 slightly to the 382 and the 4 hour 50. Actually, I prefer that one, so we go with that one. The other fib I had wasn't really that great. So here we go. That looks like quite a nice CBO. Goes back in the next, I don't know, 8 hours maybe 5 or 6 hours. Euro dollar really any time of day because it's the most traded pair. And then we're looking for that to go short down to these lows perhaps. Or even if you're more conservative, that's 2.5%, or conservatively you go down to this S1 of the daily pivots, where you will find some kind of resistance. So that looks pretty good. Pound CAD. Pound CAD. We've had a rejection of this level, which is quite a strong level. Not the best, but it's a fair bit of rejection there. Rejection recently and rejection just a couple of days ago. Breaking short through the daily 50. And that's going to continue. Look at the hourly chart and see what we get. Now here we get a nice looking CBO. This is very clearly on this figure from here is great. 382 lines up well with a 4 hour 50 and the 1 hour 50. Actually, we go a little bit lower now, it's just float lower. The only downside of this is we are trading through the daily 50 and daily 20, which is kind of ignoring, but yeah, it's not great. And if we take it down, actually that was we can take it down to S1, the daily pivots. It'd be an obvious place, 2.2%. That looks pretty good. Apart from trading through the daily 50, which is, yeah, not too happy with that one. So let's look at pound dollar. We've got a kind of going sideways, but we're rejecting the daily 50 many times, and we've got another bearish day. Are we going to break out now to the downside? So the best option here, I think, is just the pip snatcher, because don't trade the new lows. Try and get you take profit before these lows, so you don't have to get new lows to reach your profit target, which may mean that you have to trim your stop a little bit. So it gives you 1%. Just trim the stop a little bit. You need to wait for the 4 hour 50, the 1 hour 50 to catch up. We've got a bit of work to do in the next 8 hours or so. Maybe it'll come down a little bit. A nice little ABC correction. So by trimming the stop, not the ideal situation, but by doing that, you're going to get your 1-to-1 before these lows, which is what we like to see, especially with the sideways price action for quite a while. There you go. So there's only 7 to look at today. Not most exciting Friday, but there's a few that may be of interest. Makes it up nicely. I wish you all the best. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you on Monday. I'll speak to you then. Take care.